Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidil Mursaleen, Mawlana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin. Amma ba'd. Brothers, sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Brother side seems a bit depleted, doesn't it? They're all struggling in Ramadan. One of the purposes of the month of Ramadan is, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala articulates in the Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. O you who believe, fasting has been prescribed upon you, like it was prescribed upon those who came before you. And the purpose of that is what? In 2 hours, approximately, eat as much samosa, pakore, kebabs as you can. Is that the purpose of the month of Ramadan? No. The purpose of the month of Ramadan is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, that by the time that the month of Ramadan is finished, that you have a deep connection with Allah. That you have a deep connection with Allah, that you become people of taqwa. And that is the purpose of the month of Ramadan. And this is why that every one of us needs to assess himself, that is this month of Ramadan being something which has been spiritually uplifting for us? Have we become people who are closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or are we, generally how we ritualistically finish the month of Ramadan? We don't eat, we don't drink, and don't have a relationship with the wife. Besides that, we do exactly what we normally do other than Ramadan. The purpose of the month of Ramadan is that by the time you finish, that you become people of taqwa. The not eating, not drinking is a catalyst in you becoming a people of taqwa, but that is not the ultimate purpose of the month of Ramadan. The purpose is that by the end, that you are spiritually stronger. You have a deep connection with your Creator. And that means that those things which are forbidden become forbidden to a greater degree. Eating and drinking and having a relationship with the wife is generally permitted. But in the month of Ramadan, that which is permitted becomes forbidden. What about those things which are generally forbidden? What is the status of those things? And one of the things which moves a man away from taqwa is the deception of the dunya. The dunya itself. Why? Because we are all social beings. We are affected by our surroundings. And this is why if you live in a spiritually healthy society, it helps with the spiritual development. And because the dunya means that which is close, that which is the closest, and the akhirah is that the other or the further. So the dunya is something which is tangible. We can experience the dunya. The dunya is around us. The akhirah is based upon iman. And therefore many people are deceived by the dunya. The dunya takes over their life. How many intelligent people you see around who never once in their life think about their purpose in this dunya. They go through life without actually thinking what their purpose is in their dunya. They know their shoes have a purpose. They know their jackets have a purpose. But what is man's purpose on the dunya? Why did Allah create man? And people are deceived by the dunya. I mean, imagine, who chose to be born wherever you were born? Who chose to be born in Clapton or East London? No, you didn't choose. Allah chose for you where you will be born and what time. If He chose, you could be born in the depths of Pakistan or Bangladesh or Somalia or wherever. So you came into the dunya involuntarily. And by Allah, when the angel of death knocks on your door, it will not have an appointment. It will come. And you will leave this dunya involuntarily. You will not choose that, no, I still got this to do. Still got 6 months of being the president of the Islamic Society of UCL. Or I still got, a few 100,000 to make my first million. Let me make my first million. You won't have any choice. You will leave the dunya involuntarily. So you came in the dunya involuntarily, and you will leave the dunya involuntarily. Then what makes you think that you are at liberty to do anything that you wish from the time that you are born to the time that you die? Life is a trust from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And everybody here wants success. But what is the definition of success? When Allah speaks about success, what did He say? He said, "Man zuhzi anin nar wa udkhila al-jannah faqad faz." He says, whoever has been removed from the fire and entered into Jannah, faqad faz, he is successful. And then Allah says directly after, وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. But the dunya itself, this life, is provisions of deception, because Allah knows that the vast majority of people who are removed from Allah and who lose their purpose and who are deceived by the dunya is deceived because of their purpose in life is because of the dunya. And this is what it's like. It's like a dream. Have you ever had a dream? You dream. And in the dream, you're driving a Ferrari, California. And you got a big, lovely mansion. And you're enjoying, you're actually believing that's reality. And then you wake up, and you open your window and you see your Peugeot 306. And you're still in the east of London. No, I mean, I don't know what east of London is. Normally I crack a few jokes about Birmingham, but I don't. You realized that dream was a delusion. You realize. On the other hand, you sometimes have a dream that you're in pain, you're being beaten in your dream. And you actually feel the pain. And then you wake up and you realize it was only a dream. This is what this world is like. When Ali radiallahu anhu said, he said, people are asleep, only when they die will they wake up. You believe that you are awake, but in reality you're asleep. And only when you die, you really realize, when you see the reality of the dunya and the reality of the hereafter, you realize that the dunya was deception. And that's when you wake up. In the time of Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, there was a person who wanted to accompany Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. So he said, O Messenger of Allah, can I accompany you? And Isa alayhi salatu salam allowed him. After a while they were on the journey, Isa alayhi salatu salam told him, go and buy 3 chapatis. There had chapatis even in those times. So he goes and he says, there's only 2 of us, me and Isa, who's the 3rd one for? So he eats the 3rd one. So when he comes back to Isa alayhi salatu salam, Isa alayhi salatu salam asks him, he said, where's the 3rd one? He goes, there was no 3rd one. So they carry on the journey. And Isa alayhi salatu salam goes buy a goat, and he pays the owner money for the goat, and then he makes a dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that goat all by itself is sacrificed, skinned, and it begins to roast. So the man's shocked. He says, Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah, MashaAllah. How did this happen? And Isa alayhi salatu salam says, I ask you by He who made this miracle happen, what happened? Where is the 3rd roti? Where is the 3rd chapati? And he said, Wallahi billahi tallahi kasmeh. Kasmeh, I don't know where the 3rd one is. They go on further on the journey, and they come to a river, and there's no boats to cross. So Isa alayhi salatu salam hits his staff on the bank, and the river parts. And Isa alayhi salatu, and the man sees this, and he says, Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah, what a miracle. And Isa alayhi salatu salam asked him, he said, I ask you by He who performed this miracle, where is the 3rd chapati? And he said, Wallahi billahi tallahi kasmeh. I don't know. There was no 3rd roti. Later on they reach a desert and they rest. And Isa alayhi salatu salam makes 3 heaps of sand. And then he makes a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah changes those 3 heaps of sand into gold. And Isa alayhi salatu salam turns to him and he says, this one for me, that one for you, and the 3rd one for the one who ate the chapati. And he says, Wallahi billahi tallahi kasma, I ate it. He goes, I ate it. And Isa alayhi salatu salam said, you go your way, I go my way. And he's elated. He's got the dunya, 3 heaps of gold. And 2 robbers come past. And they see this man with 3 heaps of gold. So they kill him. And then one says to the other, he says, go and buy some roti. So one goes and buys some food. So the one who's waiting thinks, when he comes back, I'll kill him. The one who's gone to buy the chapati thinks, I'll poison the chapati. When he eats it, he'll die. So he comes back, he kills him, he eats the chapati, and he dies. The dunya is still here, but man leaves it. Man leaves it. Isa alayhi salatu salam once saw the dunya embellished like a beautiful prostitute. And he asked her, he said, who are you? And she said, I'm the dunya. And he asked her, how many partners have you had? And she said, I've had billions of partners. Every person who's walked on the face of this earth has been my partner. And he said, how many have you been faithful to? And she said, none. And Isa alayhi salatu salam said, fool is he who falls in love with you after he has seen what you have done to your previous partners. And this is why when Allah says in the Quran, La tansa nasibaka min ad-dunya, do not forget your portion of the dunya. Imam Qurtubi says that your portion of this dunya is your kafan. That the only thing that you will take from this dunya is your kafan. Everything else you leave behind. Your car, your bank balances. You take nothing. Your popularity, your fancy scarves, your nice homes, your nice garments, everything remains behind. What you go to in the grave is those 2 coffins. That's it. And this is a reality of the dunya. But we are often deceived by the dunya. One of the most beautiful examples, and I've given this example 100 times, of the reality of the dunya is the example given by Imam Ghazali rahimahullah about the dunya. He speaks about a man who's walking through the jungle. And whilst he's walking, he looks behind and he sees a lion chasing him. And he runs. And he comes to a well. And he jumps into the well. And whilst he's falling, he manages to hold onto some rope. And he breathes a sigh of relief. And looks up, he sees the lion hovering over him, waiting for him. And he looks down, and beneath him is a large serpent with its mouth open, waiting for him to fall. And the only support he has is the rope. And after a little while, he sees a black mouse and a white mouse set upon the rope, and they begin to nibble it. Above is the lion, beneath is the serpent, and the only support he has is the rope. And now that's being nibbled at. And in front of him, he sees this honeycomb. And he looks at this honeycomb. And then he sticks his finger into that honey. And he takes that honey upon his finger, and he places it upon his tongue. And the sweetness of the honey momentarily makes him forget the lion, the snake, and even the two mice. Imam Ghazali rahimahullah says that the lion is death, which is always chasing you. The serpent is your grave, into which every person will fall. And if he's a good person, it will be rawdatun min riyad al-jannah, a garden from the paradises of gardens of paradise. And if he's evil, it will be a pit from the pits of Jahannam. And the rope is his life. And the black mouse denotes the night, and the white mouse denotes the day. And they are always nibbling upon your life. And the honey is the dunya. A man tastes the sweetness of the dunya, and he forgets death. He forgets the grave. He forgets a day will come that he will die, and he will have to stand in front of his Creator. And this is the reality of the dunya.